You don't outscore opponents by 464 points without having a really deep football team. Who are some of the unsung heroes on this team?
You know, I think I have to start by saying, Pete Boyer. I think Pete, his statistically being a fullback and a lead blocker, arms out of the eye or in the power eye, you don't get a whole lot of stats. But I can tell you that every single coach from around the league thought he was a huge piece. Guys like Cody Levenseller, first-year football player and starter, played tremendously, and Dustin Raymond was an first-team all-conference selection. That was the other guard that allowed us to run traps and counters so well in the interior. Craig Chambers, our center, was definitely an unsung hero, being in the middle of our offensive line. You don't tend to get too much of the limelight, but he definitely grew an incredible amount being a first-year varsity starter. Guys like Alex Sador, that had a tremendous season on the left side of our line. Colby Kendall and Wes Stinson from the defensive side both had tremendously solid years. And then obviously Corey Bjornson, statistically had a great season defensively, and was definitely one of the most physically imposing kids on the field at any given time. And I think guys like Caleb Richard, who kicked 61 of 64 extra points, 1 of 2 field goals. That was just a testament to his effort and commitment to improve as a kicker. Caleb Smith made personal sacrifices and always put the team ahead of his own self, and I'll be forever grateful for that. And just a constant team player. And we had a number of those contributions this year. I grew up actually with Josh Withy on North Street, right here in town. He was a year behind me in school, but growing up on the same street, and of course his father being the head coach at the time, I was involved almost on a daily basis with the program from a very young age, and just continued to stay around it. Admired the team. The '96 state championship team was. I can vividly remember a lot of the things that happened during that season, and then the following year when they lost in the state championship game. And then from there, just continued following it through the years of Brian Bellemare until I got into school. Playing at Foxcroft Academy was more than I ever thought it would be, and never did I think when I graduated that I was ever going to come back as the head football coach. But it's definitely been an honor and a blessing.
The FA football program means a lot to everyone on the team, and myself included. For the past 4 years, that's pretty much all I've been doing, even during the regular season and during the off season, just working really hard and putting in a lot of time to try and not only do better as a player myself, but try and make the team also a little bit better. It really means a lot, not just to the team, but the community too.
My history with the FA football program is a little lengthy. I've been a 3-year starter, and starting out, we had a pretty rough season after we graduated so many players in the 2009 Eastern Maine Championship team. But a lot of us were young. We had a lot of sophomores on the team, and we just worked hard, and it all brought us up to the point of this year. And last year we all learned so much more experience, and then this year just all that experience took over.
Growing up as a kid, everybody's out at Oaks Field for the home games, watching the games. It's just kind of the society and our community kind of grooms you to become football in the football kind of state of mind at FA, and we know it means a lot to the community
I started playing football my sophomore year, and I had no idea what I was getting into. I didn't know what to expect, but I'm very fortunate and blessed to have been a part of this program. And coming into this season, we had a lot of returning starters and a lot of seniors, and we knew coming in we had great leadership.
Coming into this year, I had high expectations. I knew that we were senior heavy. I knew that we had a lot of returning all-conference members of last year's LTC team and a number of first-teamers.
During training camp this summer, could you sense that there was something different about the team this year?
Yeah, the team was a lot more of a family than anything. The past few years, we've had some teams that have been successful in some ways, but this team has really been more together and just always wanting to keep on going and keep on pushing and giving their best for everything. Even when Pete was pretending to be a pony during down-back downs, but we all had a lot of fun together and knew that it was going to be a great season that we had.
You know, we got to go back all the way to the beginning of June, almost, you know, when baseball ended, because baseball went so late into the state championship. In June, we started a 7-on-7 league. We entered that league in Hamden. So a lot of our skill guys, our wide receivers, our running backs, our quarterback, got to play 7-on-7 in Hamden. Got to play 9 games down there this summer against some of the better competition in Eastern Maine, regardless of class. We played Bangor, we played Hamden, Belfast, as well as, you know, Orono and John Baptist in those leagues that are in our league. You know, and I think that's where it started. I think that our camaraderie and our teamwork started there, and they were very focused all summer on playing well. And that's when their timing started, and that just carried over into double sessions. You know, and the energy level was high. Every single session, there was great effort and great energy. And then our 2 exhibition games, the Waterville game, we played them square, and Waterville ended up playing in the Class B Eastern Maine final. So that was great for us to play them square. And then the scrimmage against Mattanocook, we fired on all cylinders right out of the gate and played a very good football game that day. So preseason was fantastic for us. We were able to stay healthy. Energy level was high, and all the seniors kept everybody on the same page.
Finally, someone let me out of my cage. Now, time for me is nothing because I'm counting no A's. Nah, I couldn't.
In the season opener, your first-team defense held Ellsworth to -20 yards from scrimmage before giving way to the second unit in the third quarter. How much did this opening effort do for the unit's confidence?
Well, you know, we knew Ellsworth was a new team, and you know, we didn't know exactly what we were going to see, but I mean, it was basically over after the first quarter, and I mean, we just had it was a really good, you know, first game for us.
In Week 1 against Ellsworth, you put up 71 points without a single player tallying more than 78 yards from scrimmage. What did this opening win tell you about your football team?
You know, I think it told us right then and there that we were going to be pretty balanced, that we were not going to have to rely on any one individual to carry the load, and that we could score points on a number of different ways, including special teams. So I think it just was an early indicator of our team balance.
Against Dexter, Hunter Law connected with Ryan Rewar for 2 touchdowns. 9 different players combined to rush for 288 yards, and your defense pitched a shutout and held the Tigers to 37 yards from scrimmage on their home field. Was this the game where you started to understand just how good your team could be?
Yeah, I think, especially from a defensive standpoint, you know, Dexter had beaten Herman the week before in Week 1 and moved the ball pretty well the majority of that game, and they had a good power running game and a big line up front. And the fact that they were only able to manage 37 yards of offense was not just a statement, but a dominating performance for our defense. And it left our offense with so little of a field to score that the 55 points came as a result of that defensive effort. So I think we realized right then and there how good we were going to be as a defensive team.
That game just really showed that our defense was surpassing the expectations that we had coming into this year.
Ryan Rebar was up to his old tricks in the blowout win over MCI in Week 3. Do you think Coach Bertram will be happy to see him graduate this spring?
Yeah, I think he'll be very pleased. I don't know if he'll be the only one that's thrilled to see Ryan go. We are all saddened, but that's how it goes. And the 2 games that he had against MCI over the last couple of years are kind of head scratchers. I believe he had 7 interceptions, maybe 5 touchdowns against them in two games. And in this fall, he only played about half of the game. I don't even know if he played many snaps in the third quarter. He scored in a variety of different ways against them, and he was up to his old tricks. He scored on a punt return. He caught a touchdown pass, returned an interception for a touchdown. So it was just one of those games where he was going to get them.
After 3 blowout wins to start the season, what were the team's expectations heading into a road matchup with undefeated Stearns in Week 4?
We knew this was going to be our first big test, especially playing away, but we were definitely up for the challenge, and we had a great week of preparation for that game. And yeah, it was just a great week.
You didn't need to use Donnie Boyer out of the backfield very much in the first 3 games, but you called his number 20 times against undefeated Stearns in Week 4, and the result was a 144-yard, 4-touchdown effort. How important was it to get him on track as you headed into the meat of your schedule?
I think it was important for him to get on that track, going in, like you said, to the meat of our schedule. And that performance was not just a great one for him, but it was a really nice one for our offensive line, really controlling the line of scrimmage and allowing him to break away on a number of runs of more than 10 yards. So, like I said, that was a big one for him to get on the right track.
'Cause all I ever have, redemption songs.
You were undefeated when you headed to Orono in Week 5 last year, but the Red Riots routed you guys, and your team never seemed to fully recover from that loss. You were again both 4-0 heading into a huge homecoming matchup in Week 5 this year. What did you say to the team as you prepared them for this game?
There wasn't a whole lot for me to say. They were carrying the pain, the emotion, and all of the baggage that came with it from last year's defeat with them. And I just told the biggest thing I told them was just give more effort than they give. And on that night, that's really when we started to understand that we had a special group, because we didn't just beat them, we dominated them, and they were undefeated. They were scoring a bunch of points through the first 4 weeks. So it really was, it had the build-up of being the matchup of the season, of the regular season, and the fact that we dominated it the way that we did was just a true testament to the effort that the kids put forth, and they prepared unbelievably hard, and they were very focused for that game, and it showed on the scoreboard.
How much did the huge win over Orono mean to this team, especially in light of the loss that they handed you guys last year?
Last year, we had a pretty good start to the season, and we went into the Orono game, and they just handled us every play. It wasn't even close. They destroyed us, and it was kind of like embarrassing for us to have that loss, and we were just looking for a way to kind of get revenge on them and also still have success in our season. So we were all especially ready for that game because we knew that they were coming in as one of the top teams this year. So it meant a lot to us to really work hard that week especially and come into the game and just give everything we had.
Would you say that up until that point, that was the most satisfying win of your career as a coach?
Yeah, I believe it's got to be up there. It's definitely got to be up there.
Can I get an encore? Do you want more? Cook and roll with the Brooklyn boys. So for one last time, I need y'all to brawl.
So you followed up that great performance against Orono with another masterpiece at John Baptist. What does it say about your team that you were able to beat the undefeated Crusaders 40-0, despite completing just one pass for 0 yards?
Yeah. You know, I think it just speaks to our offensive line. You know, it was a wet night. We kept the ball on the ground, and those guys up front really did a nice job wearing down John Baptist, especially later in the game, you know, into the third and into the fourth quarter. You know, our ground attack was really punishing at times in that game, later in the game, and you know, defensively we were all over the field again. Louis was tremendous in that game. Corey was great in that game, as a number of others, and you know, I think it spoke to our defensive effort again, and it spoke to our ability to run the ball with power.
You followed up the huge win over Orono with an equally impressive performance at John Baptist, forcing 7 turnovers and notching your 5th straight shutout win. Talk about the team's defensive performance in this game.
Well, you know, the first half of the game we were, it was pretty close. I mean, it was only 7-0 at halftime, but it was definitely a defensive battle on for both teams. And starting out in that second half, you know, our conditioning just took over, and we came out and we punished them. And the defense really stepped it up in that second half, especially in the fourth quarter. We definitely took over.
I'm going down, 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 down. I'm going down, 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 down.
After so many big wins in a row, do you think your team was overconfident heading into Week 7's matchup with Bucksport? And did this loss end up being a blessing in disguise?
I don't believe we were overconfident going into that game because the kids had the same focus and the same intensity in practice that they had the previous 6 weeks of the year. You know, I think I need to shoulder a lot of the blame of that. I didn't have our kids as prepared as Coach Sankey did, and you know, it was just one of those games that speaks to anything can happen on any given night in the game of football, and the game of in any competition. You can be beaten on any night, and you know, just Bucksport took advantage of some miscues that we had, and took advantage of those opportunities and made us pay. But it was absolutely 100% a blessing in disguise. You know, having our kids feel that pain of defeat, looking at that scoreboard that night, forcing them to look up there at that scoreboard, 13-0, and really understand and to take it to another level, that wasn't going to happen again. I think that was the moment that I think they needed to have in order to win a state championship.
I think that was a really good learning experience for us as a team. I know coming off from that field, no one was happy with it, and no one wanted to ever end our season together like that. That was a real tough thing, and it made us learn that we weren't invincible, but we were still a great team that had more things that we needed to work on in order to get to that state championship that we were going to get to.
Well, I won't back down. No, I won't back down.
In the regular season finale against Mackinac, you guys ran for 242 yards, threw for 168, and completely shut their offense down for 3 quarters before giving way to the second unit. How important was it to come up with a solid team effort on the heels of the loss to Bucksport the week before?
Getting that win after Bucksport was crucial, and especially not just that, but heading into the playoffs, we knew we had to have a good game and carry the momentum into the playoffs.
You know, quite honestly, the bounce back game against Mackinac after the Bucksport loss was a huge moment for us. Just the way that we played and the way we executed and fired on all cylinders in that game. was a true testament to the way that we prepared that week following the loss.
Hunter Law connected with 5 different receivers on his way to posting a perfect quarterback rating against Foxcroft Academy in a nice bounce-back win to close the regular season. Talk a little bit about Hunter's development as a first-year starter at quarterback.
You know, we knew what we had with him from an athletic standpoint. We knew that he was going to be very good on his feet. We knew that he was going to be able to make throws downfield. He had a strong enough arm. You know, but his development really started to show up at that point in time of the season. You know, in the last game of the regular season, and then heading into the playoffs, he really turned into a great decision-making quarterback. You know, we started to put him in spots where he had multiple levels of receivers to go to on either side of the field. So it allowed him to go through his progressions a little bit easier. And I think it just came to him. He just always worked hard at what he did, and that game was just a very good indication of things to come, of things to follow. And you know, he just always wanted to improve this year, and that game was certainly one of those games.
Hello, friend. Hello, friend. Really good to see you once again.
You drew Foxcroft for round 1 of the playoffs. Was it strange playing the same team 2 weeks in a row and 3 times in 1 year?
Yeah, it was a little bit strange because, especially since it hadn't been a very close game either times. But coaches just kept reminding us that we had to be mentally tough and just keep taking it week by week and not overlook anybody. So we did our best just to stay on track in practice and do the things that we've done all year. So we just really tried to prepare for that playoff game like we would for any playoff game.
You guys forced 6 turnovers and moved the ball well in the playoff opener against Foxcroft, but it seemed like it was your special teams play that did the most damage. Talk about how effective your special team units were week in and week out this season.
Yeah, our kickoff team was busy this year. There's no question about it. We scored a lot of points, and you know, you would think that over the course of the year, the number of kickoff return opportunities our opponents had, that they would break one and for a score, and that never happened. We had a couple of longer ones, but that's going to happen. But the number of times we pinned a team inside their own 30 is off the, you know, it's off the chart. And you know, just the way that unit played as a whole, it doesn't really. It's not going to find its way on the Bangor Daily News. It's not going to find its way on the Channel 7 Sports Blitz. But it certainly was one of the big reasons why our defense was able to play with so much confidence and so much composure, because they knew that the other team, that our opponent had to go 70 yards or more to score, and so they didn't feel as though they had to make every single play. And you know, those type of things don't really get recognized until you evaluate the season at the end, and they certainly stepped up week in and week out, and those field position is huge, and they played well all year.
You got to get ready for the big payback. The big payback. That's where I land.
Well, the stage was set for a dramatic rematch with Bucksport in the semifinals of the playoffs. How did you prepare your team for this semifinal battle in light of Week 7's loss?
You know, I think what we wanted to do was send a message to them, to Bucksport, that we were better, physical, we were tougher, we were faster, and you know, the way to do that was that's when we really went into the double tight end power I formation and really just, you know, played smash mouth football, really north-south, with Boyer and Stevens in the backfield with a 7-man front, and stop us if you can. That was the attitude, and we had to make sacrifices in that game. With that formation, you take Rebar off the field, and he was, you know, never said anything as the consummate teammate and captain that he was. You know, making a personal sacrifice of playing time on offense, and that was never an issue, and that formation turned into be a powerhouse for us. And you know, I think we sent the message loud and clear that night that you know, we were the better team. They got us once, but they definitely weren't going to get us again.
With everything on the line, you guys held Bucksport to 66 total yards and controlled the ball for more than 30 minutes. What did it mean to avenge your loss in such an emphatic fashion?
Going into the game, the semifinal game against Bucksport, I mean, we had a lot to prove. We wanted to show everybody that that game was a fluke, that we are better than the Bucksport team that beat us. And, you know, it really, it definitely helped us out for the rest of the season, all the way up to the championship.
Ain't no way they can stop me now, because I'm on my way. I can feel my ring coming. It's the blood of a champion.
The LTC championship game was closer than the final score would indicate. John Bapp scored a touchdown with 31 seconds left in the first half to tie the game at 7. How were you guys able to respond with 26 unanswered points?
Yeah, I think probably the biggest, if there was one single biggest play of the year, it was following that touchdown after they made it 7-7 with Donnie's 66-yard touchdown, right the first play from scrimmage after that. And if you look at the tape, if you look back at the tape, every single man fulfilled their assignment on that play. You know, Louis blocking his guy 7 or 8 yards off the ball. You know, Alex Stevens is staying on the defensive end, who was first-team all-conference guy. Our wide receiver on the play had his man blocked. You know, Donnie really had those 2 safeties to beat because they dropped into a 2-deep zone. And he wasn't going to be denied the goal line as soon as he broke the seam, and you know, that propelled us and gave us the energy that we needed going into the second half. And then we returned to that double tight end power I set to kind of take the wind out of John Bapp's sails of any you know, spark they might have had, because we just used that physical, demoralizing attack on them as well. So the game was closer than 33-7, but we really took advantage of our team physicalness in that second half.
You ran for a career-high 266 yards against a tough John Bapp's defense in the Eastern Maine championship game. Did you try something new for breakfast that day?
Yeah, actually for breakfast that day, I think I had a career-high 12 energy drinks. So that probably had something to do with it. I'm not really too sure, but I was definitely energized.
A few days before the game, Dan Decker, who does the stats for the game and has been at every game the last few years and loves this team, wrote a letter to the team heading into the state championship. What did that mean to you guys?
Reading that letter, it reminded me a lot of freshman year when Ryan Stroud had also written a letter for the team to read on the bus ride down to Portland, but it meant quite a bit coming from a person who wasn't even on the football team but had been watching us the past couple of years, and just he knew the hard work that we had put in. He was right beside us watching everything that we did on that field, and that really shows that how important this team was to the community. And I think that made a lot of people happy to know that there were kids paying attention to us and that really wanted us to win. Not just us that were dreaming about doing this, but people that wanted to go and see us succeed like that. It meant a lot to us and made us push even harder to go get that gold ball and make everyone proud.
All right, you followed this team really closely the last few years. Tell us what it's meant for you to watch this team, and and why you decided to write a letter to the team heading into the state championship game?
Well, I made the decision a couple of years ago, junior year, when I was asked if I wanted to do the stats, and I thought, well, this team's really going to grow, and they're going to become something great, and I want to be there every minute, and I want to see how they're doing. So I decided I would just kind of go out there and I'd watch their progress. Like last year with junior year, that ending in Bucksport, I knew that they were going to bounce back and grow well as a team and really learn to step up next year and do their best. And then coming into the summer, I watched some of my best friends hit the weight rooms and try as hard as they can to get in the best shape they could. And I knew that they were devoting more time than most of us could ever understand into just getting better and getting to that state championship game. And I thought that someone should really reward them and give the perspective that some of us do know what's going on and we actually appreciate what they're doing. So I wanted to kind of pour my feelings out into a letter and address it to them in general so every one of them could read it and understand how I felt. It gave me a chance to show that I really did care about what they were doing, and I was in it to be there with them as they fought for that state title. And I was hoping that I could just show them that we all care about what they're doing, and we want them to win, and we want to be proud of them.
Fellas, I just wanted to take this time to, again, thank you for this unbelievable season that you've taken us all on, and this ride in the playoffs that, you told me and you told the staff from day one that you'd take us on. Tomorrow afternoon or Saturday afternoon, I know that you guys are going to give your best effort. There's no question about that. You've worked too long and too hard and for so many years to get to this point, and this is the pinnacle of your careers. I couldn't be prouder. Prouder of you as players, as young men, and I'm just extremely humbled to say that you're my first group, especially you seniors. You're my first group that I've had since you were freshmen. I know that you're going to give your best, and we're going to bring home that gold ball on Saturday. And if I can say anything to you at all, it's thank you. You've been tremendous, and if my son were to ever grow up like any one of you, I'd be extremely proud. So thank you very much, and I love you guys. Family.
I'm not afraid to take a stand, Everybody, come take my hand, we'll walk this road together.
How much did you know about Winslow, and what kind of game did you expect going in?
I was able to watch them play actually one Saturday afternoon, and noticed just real early, actually being able to witness that game in person, that they were very physical. You can't really see that on film as much, although you can see that they're physical, but to actually be there and witness it is a whole different thing, and being able to express that to the kids when we started to prepare for Winslow, I think gave us a little bit of an advantage, and made it more real for the kids, because I think being able to explain that to them really opened their eyes a little bit more than just showing it to them on the TV screen. We knew that we were going to be challenged in the interior of our offensive line, because they put a lot of pressure on you with their defensive tackles and nose guard, and their middle linebacker was very active. So we knew that as soon as we started to prepare for Winslow, we knew that we were going to have to play the most physical football game that we played of the year.
You didn't play football your freshman year when the team lost to Dirigo in the state championship. What was it like walking out of the tunnel and leading the team through the banner as you prepared to play for a gold ball?
It was definitely amazing, and I've never been a part or played in front of a crowd like that, but it helped me a lot the previous season playing in the state championship baseball game. Any game like that you get into, you're going to have nerves and your emotions are going to be running high, but for me that was a big part of it, and a big part of me staying composed and just knowing it's going to be my last game, and our seniors knowing that it's going to be our last game, just going out there and doing what we have been all year.
Talk about your team's effort in the state championship game.
Just an unbelievable effort, really. We were able to, we played square through the first quarter of the game. It was physical from the get-go. Not a lot of big plays. Yards were very tough to come by throughout the entirety of the football game. You know, in the second quarter, we were able to get on the board. And they followed it up with a score, and then we played field position for a while, and then we took advantage of a huge turnover, turned that into a touchdown, and then took advantage of another one of their miscues and went for two and got that. So we were able to build that lead and get that energy level up going into halftime, and then coming out to the second half, we put our finest drive maybe of the season together, in extending our lead to 22-7. You know, and then they went on their run. Late in the third quarter, they took advantage of one of our mistakes, which any state championship caliber team is going to do. They scored 2 plays after that on a very short field. And then, you know, we played square for the majority and physical for the majority of the fourth quarter with, again, not a lot of yards to come by. And then they put together their defining moment with that drive that they had late in the fourth quarter with scoring with under 3 minutes to play. And so we were faced with having to get 2 first downs in order for them to force them to use their timeouts before we could take a knee and salvage the victory. And so we lined up in a double tight end, power I, and we went off the left side. We ran the same play 5 consecutive times. And it went for, I believe, 4 yards, 6, 7, and 8. And that pretty much sealed the deal. We took a knee.
And the Class C state champions, Foxcroft Academy, as a 22-20 victory over the Winslow.
But before taking the knee, there was a time they called their timeout, right, their last timeout there, and I went out to the huddle and just to it was like a scene out of a movie. There wasn't, every single face in that huddle had blood on it somewhere. And they were just not to be denied. They looked at me in the face and they said, "Coach, we're going to get this done, and we're going to win this state championship on this play." It was 2nd and 4, and if we got the first down, we've forced them to use that last time out, and that's exactly what they did. And they just left no doubt. If there was more time on the clock, they had gone and scored if they had to. But you know, that moment was something that I'll remember for the rest of my life. Looking at those kids and their will, and just seeing that they weren't going to be denied that first down.
Danny, you sprinted off the field right after the end of the game. Where'd you go? I know where, but tell everybody.
My wife and son. I mean, they're behind me. You know, they're my rock, and that's where I had to go there. You know, and then right back with my family on the field. I've got 2 families, and I'm very blessed.
You know the taste of being in a championship game before. A little bit shy as a player, a little bit shy as a coach. What's your feeling now after winning this one?
Honestly, this is one of the biggest moment I've ever had, athletically speaking, and you know, is tremendous. Stuttering all over the place.
And this Donnie Boyer's performance today had to run as tough as he's had all year.
Yep, and he was special. There's no doubt. There's no question. I mean, that type of effort was great, and up front, they got it done. They paved the way, and that kid ran hard as nails like he's done all year long, and I'm so proud of him.
Foxcroft Academy has great tradition with football. Danny White certainly is up there as the head of this group, and congratulations to you, Danny. You've done a terrific job with this, guys.
Thank you so much, Tim.
Okay.
Thank you.
Danny White. Boy, Danny had a great career as a quarterback, and if anybody deserved a state championship, that guy did. He was all over the field and just a masterful player, and now he's proven to be a masterful coach, bringing a championship back to Foxcroft Academy.
You've talked throughout about the importance of the team becoming a family. Were there any moments this season, on or off the field, that helped unite this team?
I think, they committed that philosophy in double sessions, and that grew more and more. Again, I'll speak to that Orono game. That win meant so much to this group, avenging the loss from last year, and not just the loss, but the way that we lost. And the demoralizing emotions that we felt following that game a year ago. So that was a key moment in this team becoming a family. And that message just kept, coming up every day at practice, that we needed to come together as a family more and more. We held a team meeting after the Sunday after our Bucksport loss. And just gave ourselves an opportunity to clear the air before we got ready to prepare for the next week. I think that was a big thing for us to do. So there was a couple of moments that we took advantage of off the field that really brought us closer together as a team and as a family.
What does it mean to cap off your career with a state title?
It's absolutely everything that I've ever wanted, that all the guys beside me in the weight room or out running, whether it be during the preseason or regular season, it's all that we've ever wanted. We've been dreaming about it for a long time. Some of us, it was for freshman year, but I know there have been other guys on the team that have been dreaming about something like this for a long time now, since before high school. And to do that together with this team, to come together the way we did, how hard we were working together, and just the family that we had. It was great to not let anything down and have no regrets coming off from that field as we were walking off with a gold ball and giving Coach that state championship that we wanted to give to him for all the hard work that he had put in as well.
It's incredible. I mean, there's no better feeling. Every senior dreams, every person dreams that plays football that their senior year they'll win the state championship. And this year we made it come true, and we knew this was our last chance. And we had the heart, we had the drive to go and get that. And just to cap off our careers was with a gold ball. It's just something that not many people can say they've done.
It means the world. It means so much, especially to the seniors. It's every senior's dream to go out with a gold ball, to say that you won your last game. Not very many people can say that. And a lot of that goes to the coaches for preparing us this season. And it's something I'll cherish for the rest of my life.
Everybody on the team has worked so hard for this. We come out and practice every day, and we put our best effort on the table every single day for hours on end, watching film. We just spend so much time in the off season, during the season, just preparing for it, and it really just kind of shows that hard work it really pays off, and it kind of was like we worked so hard for one goal, and it really just felt great when we achieved that goal.
And how exciting was it for you to be there in Portland and watch, those years of hard work culminate in a state championship for, like you said, some of your best friends?
Oh, it was great. That was easily one of the best experiences of my high school career, to go out there and see all the hard work they've done just pay off in the best way they could possibly expect. It was better than I think I could ever have hoped for, and even they could have hoped for.
All right, talk about what these 4 captains have meant to your program and how much it means to send them off with a state title.
You know, I've only been the head coach for 4 years, but they are the most impressive group of captains that I've had, and you know, their efforts are second to none. Their commitment was second to none. Their dedication to the weight room, to getting themselves in shape, to doing the right thing, to being good student athletes, and just being great people. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. Their contributions are almost unmeasurable to me at this point. They're special human beings.
Do you have a final message for your coaches?
Just thank you so much for everything that you've done, because I know it's been us. We were running those down back downs that you were yelling at us to push a little bit harder on and not leave anything out on the field, but it takes a dedicated group of people to keep on pushing us like that and know exactly what it is that we needed to do. We were put in the right positions all the time. Like in the state game, going for those extra 2 points, that was probably one of the gutsiest things that I have ever heard one of my coaches call for a play, and it absolutely paid off. We were put in the right positions all the time. We played the defense that we knew, we played the offense that we knew how to play, and that got us to where we are. And thank you very much for all the work and struggles that you went through.
Yes, I want to say I'm very grateful for the coaches that we have, the staff. I mean, like they put us in the position to win, and they helped us out through the entire way. And they taught us a lot of valuable lessons, and you know, we formed a bond with our coaches, and it's just it's something that I don't want to lose. But I mean, every senior is going to graduate, but I want to say thank you for the experience that I've had with them.
I want to thank every single one of them. We know that they put in so much time and work into this, and they really, from the start, from the get-go, gave us our expectations and set it down that we were the team this year. And I want to thank Coach White for introducing family to this team. That was a big part of it. Us coming together and buying into it, knowing that this is the season, and it was just a great overall season. I've never been a part of something like this.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you guys. It means so much to me, and I know it means so much to everybody on the team, how much hard work you guys put in. And we're all just so lucky to have a group of coaches that care about it as much as we care about it, and want to work as hard as we want to work. So thank you.
What final message do you have for all your seniors?
This senior group was certainly the big reason why we won the state championship. And if there's anything that I can do for any of them, they know how to get in touch with me. Just an amazing ride with an incredible finish. They never had any doubt that they were going to win this thing. They stayed positive when we were going through some adversity, and you know, just a really good bunch of kids that are going to be successful people if they live life the way that and they commit to life the way that they've committed to this football program.
They wanted bad, but we wanted more. This is what we've been waiting for. With tears in our eyes, we let our heart roar. Unleash war when we walk out this door. We won't be delayed, we won't be denied. In the end, we won't refuse with clear eyes. Up